Nexstar Media, which owns around 24 ABC affiliates, says it will preempt Jimmy Kimmel live indefinitely tonight due to his commentary on the Charlie Kirk assassination. Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, and we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of local communities in which we are located. Andrew Alford, president of Nexstar's broadcasting division, said, dude, what the are you saying? The president is literally, the vice president is saying it's war. We're going to tackle the left. We're going to tackle the left. They killed my best friend. Okay. They're just making shit up, saying that all Democrats and all liberals are going to get destroyed, using Charlie Kirk's assassination to make the case. Meanwhile, the dumb libtards in positions of power, are asleep at the wheel, or I guess they personally don't care. They actually agree with the conservatives. Maybe they're not as liberal as you think they are. These guys don't understand. Fascists will always turn their crosshairs on you, okay? There is no collaboration with fascists. Unless you are a die-hard fascist yourself, you're continue to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time, and we've made the difficult decision to preempt the show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move towards the resumption of respectful, constructive dialogue. Dog, if you want someone to do respectful dialogue, like demand the president do so. What are we talking about?
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom.
That's what they clapped him over? That's it? Highlighting how little Trump gives a about Charlie Kirk? That's it? It's just like he didn't even make like a, I thought he made an edgy joke or something.
For the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Brother, the one time Jimmy Kimmel is like kind of funny because of Trump's funniness, and ABC is caving. ABC yanks Jimmy Kimmel's show indefinitely after remarks about Charlie Kirk. Brother, this is why I said these guys are going to get extra vicious. They're going to come for everybody. They're going to come for people that conservatives just hate, right? This is their own. This is unironically right-wing cancel culture. But the difference here is that the government is actually leaning into it. Whereas like liberals were not, you know, going around being like, we have to cancel this show or that show. Like, or even if they ever brought it up, nobody really gave a shit, right? Like no right-wing corporation ever gave a shit and was like, yes, that's right. Due to the unimaginable pressure that we're getting from liberal politicians, we're canceling the Milo Yiannopoulos show or whatever. Like the irony in and of itself is that the irony here is that like the cancel culture pressures and this kind of like SJW behavior is done from a place of powerlessness when you recognize how little power you have to actually change the systems. You actually want free healthcare. You want to have a better job. You want to have better benefits. You want to be able to take time off whenever you see fit, build a family, own a home, but you know you can't get those things. So you just focus on like things that are immediately in front of you. This asshole pissed me off. Remember when he cried? Remember when he cried during COVID? Like that's the gripe that conservatives have with this guy. Okay? And therefore he was always a target. And now that the Charlie Kirk thing happened, they're using that as an opportunity to go after him. He didn't even say anything wrong here. He didn't even say anything even like remotely off base. But what's frustrating about this shit is that all of these powerful media organizations are straight up caving and capitulating to dear leader, bro. Nexstar CEO praises Trump administration as local TV giant announces $6.2 billion merger with rival. The initiatives being pursued by the Trump administration offer local broadcasters the opportunity to expand reach, level the playing field, and compete more effectively. What the fuck are we doing? And now And now CBS is owned by Larry Ellison's son, and he's bringing in Barry Weiss so they could do better pro-Israel propaganda. I don't know how the that's going to work. And on top of that, on the other side, as mainstream media is dying, they are actively putting the clamps on independent media. I covered this already earlier with the whole like bringing in the Twitch CEO. It's bullshit, dude. And what's crazy about all of this is that a lot of people are just sleepwalking. Like a lot of people are just like, oh, from a partisan perspective, it's great. It makes me feel good that Jimmy Kimmel is banned. Okay, great. See, someone in the chat immediately said, not sure who lies more, Jimmy Kimmel or Hasan. If you are truly confused by that, he got banned, which we shouldn't have. I love the hogs, okay? I love my little piggies. Mods, don't pull the trigger finger so fast. Like, you can do that for this dipshit, but you don't have to do that for like a honest-to-God hog who's like, oh, I hate Jimmy Kimmel and HasanAbi Piker. Yeah, it's over. Oh, Hasan Piker might be gone. This guy's so excited, right? Comrade Stump. I say, imagine how narrow your worldview is that you think a Twitch streamer being deplatformed at the direction of the free speech anti-cancel culture administration after 2 years of Zionist organizations demanding it happen is somehow going to improve your life. Do you see? That's it. Like, if given the option of free healthcare and then Ben Shapiro and everybody else gets to maintain their platform, or no free healthcare but they get deplatformed, I wouldn't give a about deplatforming those guys. What are you talking about? It's not even a question. The entire reason why they're doing this is because they're throwing red meat in front of you, you idiots, to make you feel like one of your dreams is being realized, because they realize that you are brain-broken, small-minded morons that will literally go, oh, hell yeah, he banned transgender athletes from the NCAA, so that you can't realize that you're still getting over by a person who promised no new wars. He's the peaceful candidate. He's going to end all the wars, and he's going to fix the prices. None of that has happened. That's what he won on. He won a narrow victory over that. People have been running around making it seem like this is a Reagan-style sweep after a year and a half of negative real wage growth that was experienced is unprecedented under the Biden administration. And dumb don't even understand that they are not getting their wishes, but it's making them feel like they are because Jimmy Kimmel got banned. Like, you're a loser, brother. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit about Jimmy Kimmel, okay? Who gives a about Jimmy Kimmel? But, like, if you think that this improves your life in any capacity, you are a huge pussy, okay? You are a ginormous pussy and a loser. You have nothing going on in your life. Nothing. Like, how the is this a big W for you?
What was going on earlier today when I saw this pop up on Twitter? This is the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, on a far-right podcast talking about what Kimmel's comments were. Let's roll that tape.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. Obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you know, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, you know, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at.
Joe, are you comfortable with the FCC playing this role?
I don't think this is a legal issue. I don't think this can be pointed to the FCC or the Trump administration and say, well, this is about them going after Kimmel because of what he said. Personally, I think it's more of a cultural issue. And I got to tell you, look, I'm about as moderate a Republican as you're going to get. I'm from New York. I have not been comfortable watching late night television for 15 years because when you have conservative leanings and you're constantly moderate and you constantly feel like you're doing something wrong, you shut it off. You don't watch it anymore.
It's so hard. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I want to say things that I can't say. There's a lot of attention on me right now. Oh my God. But I'm thinking it. You are the biggest pussy on the planet. Turn off the television. You are the biggest pussy on the planet. Oh my God.
Clip.
This is so much worse than the most gender fluid, septum piercing having, turf bang having, multicolored haired college freshman with a philosophy degree could ever come up with. Like, this is literally like, I can't watch television because my feelings are hurt. Are you kidding me? Turn off the TV. Oh my God. That is sincere advocacy. Oh, I'm too scared to watch Jimmy Fallon. I can't say anything because I'm worried that they're going to be like, he needs to go banned. But I cannot comprehend how big of a pussy one is to not even feel a sense of shame to say that out loud on national television. Oh my God.
Executive branch officials. I don't have to respond to Congress, that kind of thing. He's fighting that out in the court. We've seen that before. What's unprecedented, however, is the way Donald Trump is using official power from the FCC on to go after universities, law firms, and media companies that he disagrees with on policy or on politics. That is new. We've not seen that from any president before.
This is actually cancel culture. I mean, that's what this is. The chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, added on Benny Johnson's podcast that the broadcasters, including ABC, have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. Elsewhere in the interview, Carr attacked Kimmel as talentless and suggested the late-night comedian's comments displayed some sort of, quote, desperate irrelevance. Is that what we want the FCC chairman to be doing?
It's a very slippery slope, and there's a pattern. We keep talking about it like it's not happening, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again with folks he disagrees with. I'm a Democrat. I'll say what happened to Charlie Kirk is disgusting. We should have a court. If he did it, he should be prosecuted to every extent of the law. We shouldn't have to say that. That's just common sense. But we also should say the First Amendment matters to everybody, whether they agree or they disagree. And I just think that what we're going through right now is unprecedented. It's unseemly. And I think that it's really getting out of hand because it's just happening more and more and more with folks who disagree.
We do have the clip that Jimmy Kimmel said Monday night. Obviously, this is not the entire 8 or 9 minute monologue. This is just one clip of it, but this is what he said.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Now, the way that Fox covered what he just said there was Kimmel suggests Kirk assassin was one of the MAGA gang, despite reports of leftist leanings. I don't know that I think that is an accurate description, but they have the First Amendment to write what they want to write.
The job of the FCC is not to regulate and police content. It's not, do we like this? Does this make us comfortable or uncomfortable? Right. I don't like anything about what Jimmy Kimmel said, frankly. I agree with Joe. I find his comments reprehensible, but it's not the FCC's job to say, do we like this or do we not? And the FCC, of course, is a government actor. And I'm thinking sort of off the top of my head here, but if ABC wanted to fight this, clearly they don't because they've made the decision to dispatch or suspend Jimmy Kimmel. If they wanted...
If you found those comments from Jimmy Kimmel to be reprehensible, again, you're not cut out. You're not cut out for this environment. That is crazy. What is happening? Wake up. Wake up. This is not about a sincere request to return to normalcy and commentary. The worst part about it isn't even like the procedural influence that is unprecedented and directly in violation of the First Amendment. Okay, that's a problem for sure. But the broader problem here is that they are actively doing this. It's not just Jimmy Kimmel. They're coming after everyone that they personally perceive to have even a little bit of smoke for Republicans. That's it. How the are you not aware of this? Like, this is some real fascist bullshit. If you think those comments about Charlie Kirk are reprehensible, just listen to Charlie Kirk once or twice and let's see what you think about his takes then.
I think the point is, though, that, again, when you alienate a part of the population who at some point just stops watching, then you have no incentive to keep whatever left of that audience there is. And then, it just kind of goes down the drain.
Let me ask you a question, Joe. Do you think that we are holding late-night comedians to a standard for speech and decency that we do not hold our elected leaders, incling the President of the United States, to?
I guess who's we? I mean, you're talking about audience watchers or citizens?
The American people, the government of the United States as of now. Are we demanding that our late-night comedians behave in a more upright and more conciliatory and sensitive way than we demand that our president act?
Well, I think It's not so much demanding. It's if you don't like what Kimmel's saying, you turn it off. If you don't like what Trump is doing, you don't vote for him. So I think that's the power you have. And so I don't know that there's any kind of
but we're not turning off Jimmy Kimmel. There's being pressure applied to have him canceled.
That's ABC's choice, though. They don't have to cancel him.
But they feel the heat. That's when they do it. Like everybody who gets in the line of fire of this administration feels the heat, and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want any heat here. This is the big boys, and they all back down.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Look, we've seen law firms back down. Many law firms settled. I was surprised. I was disappointed by that. We've seen many colleges, including Columbia, settle, right? And it's, I think, noteworthy and alarming to note how many free actors in the private sector have decided to give in to settle rather than to stand up and fight. There are some counterexamples. There are law firms that have fought.
This is what I've been trying to explain to people. Like,
that's a decision that every private entity has to make for itself based on
the court judges all across the country that are more than happy, though, to fight again, to push back against Trump administration actions.
They've lost most of those lawsuits, though, the Trump administration.
A new era of fascism.
Thanks, one and all. Appreciate it. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and on the TikTok at Jake Tapper.
I'm telling you right now, we are in the era of corpo-fascism, woke fascism, homo-fascism, okay? That's where we're at right now. Like, these guys will behave as though these guys will just complain and cry and lose their shit.
Really shocking news just
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
As the FBI director today was accused of an Epstein cover-up, Kash Patel repeatedly testifying he can't release the documents. The courts, though, have said otherwise, as Trump tonight is facing protests and questions about Epstein, even on his trip to London. And tonight, a sheriff's warning to Tyler Robinson's romantic partner, the sheriff telling friends and family of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer to, quote, lay low. That sheriff is my guest. Let's go out front. And good evening, I'm Erin Burnett, and out front tonight, we do begin with this very late-breaking news. Jimmy Kimmel's late-night talk show has been pulled off the air indefinitely. Pulled off the air indefinitely. ABC is just making this announcement about Jimmy Kimmel Live just hours after the Trump-aligned chairman of the FCC went on a podcast threatening to take action against ABC and its parent, Disney, about Jimmy Kimmel, specifically over these comments by Jimmy Kimmel 2 nights ago. What Jimmy Kimmel did, I'm going to play it for you, but I'll tell you what he did. He suggested that the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize...
Bro, one of ours isn't even Jimmy Kimmel's assessment. It's the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox's own statement, by the way. Like, that's literally...
like that.
So it's not even out of pocket to say one of ours. Okay? Because Tyler Robinson was one of theirs. It's true. It was white-on-white violence. What the f*** do we mean?
That's the direct quote of what Jimmy Kimmel said. So why does that warrant this? Right? Again, it wasn't even a celebration, and I know people are very torn on that and what is free speech or not free speech. But here is what the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, just warned.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by...
Bro, this kind of shit was so whack when SJWs were doing it, and it's somehow even more whack when it's the Republicans doing it. Even harder because the Republicans are using like institutional muscle to do it. It's not even like hysterical college campus freshmen now being like, oh, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to see this. It's just like bald ass dipshits that work in positions of power going on Benny Johnson's show talking about how we got to use this. We got to use our institutional muscle here to flex on Jimmy Kimmel.
What's happening with Kimmel's show, though, comes in the context, of course, of the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. CBS announced it was canceling that. Colbert was a longtime and vocal critic of President Trump.
Ari Cohen has become like
that this was due to financial reasons.
One of the goats, dude. Like low key. I never thought that I would be on board with like Fire, which I always thought was like somewhat a little too conservative coded. Even though they were like it's crazy. They hyper focused on like they hyper focused quite a bit about SJW shit. No, I know he tweeted about me too. No, he is somewhat of a goat actually. No U.S. citizens should be detained by law enforcement at the border or anywhere because of their protected speech. ICE and CBP are the enemies domestic that federal officials swear an oath to defend against. And it's so funny because people were like, platforming terrorist propaganda isn't protected speech. You are certainly no constitutional scholar. I'll say that much. Like, that was my favorite thing to read at the time. That was my favorite thing to read at the time, of like blue checkmark dipshits being like, no, it's actually a good thing that he was detained, to a First Amendment and defamation lawyer. Like, that's his job, bro. That's his life's mission.
With really, again, no explanation from ABC, just it is what it is. It is stunning.
Anyway, Ari Cohn, a hero in these times, okay? Never thought we would get here. I always thought that, like, Fire was very conservative coded because they kept on talking about campus controversy all the goddamn time. But they also would release reports on book burnings regularly. They did. They would, like, Fire regularly brought up how much conservatives are actually suppressing freedom of information, freedom of speech, and how much they were, like, actively going after whatever kind of books can be, whatever kind of books can be read in, like, libraries and stuff. But ultimately, in this day and age, heroes, and more necessary than ever before. We need, like, when it comes to the speaking on the humanity of immigrants, we need, like, OG Cato style libertarians. And when it comes to defending the First Amendment, we need these libertarians. We were at Campus Org until like 3 years ago. Yeah. Ari Hive, I worked there, lol. We were at Campus Org until, yeah, but like, it just focused way too much on how annoying SJWs are on college campuses. Like, that was his entire purpose. But like, it's very clear that they're moving on to bigger and better things because their needs, there is a tremendous need here for them to work. Ari Cohn, counsel of the Fire Org Reacts. The government pressured ABC and ABC caved. The timing of ABC's decision on the heels of the FCC chairman's pledge to the network to do this the easy way or the hard way tells the whole story. Another media outlet withered under government pressure, ensuring that the administration will continue to extort an exact retribution on broadcasters and publishers who criticize it. We cannot be a country where late-night talk show hosts serve at the pleasure of the president. But until institutions grow a backbone and learn to resist government pressure, that is the country we are. Oh my God, I'm nutting, dude. That's my goat, Ari. Please save me. Ari, save me, Ari. What do you think of Jimmy Kimmel? It doesn't matter, okay? For all intents and purposes, I am Jimmy Kimmel's most loyal servant. I am his fedayeen going forward, okay? I don't give a about Jimmy Kimmel until this very moment. Now he's my goat. Do you understand? Because what is going on here is far more consequential than my own personal distaste for like Jimmy Kimmel's jokes or whatever, okay? What's going on here is this administration playing out its agenda of suppressing whatever they see fit, okay? Not even just dissent at this point. I love Jimmy Kimmel, okay? That is my goddamn goat going forward, okay? Comrade Kimmel. It's so ridiculous. And a lot of dumb liberals do not understand that an administration that decides we are going to pull the plug while utilizing the FCC's powers that it does not have against Jimmy Kimmel's like not even remotely offensive statements. What the do you think is going to do to everything until everyone is just like on their hands and knees like the DPRK lady about Kim Jong-un? You know, millions must suffer, I guess. Nah, that's bullshit, man. He didn't say anything even remotely edgy, which, by the way, even if he had, he has every right. He has every right. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. This isn't even about like the public pressure, okay? I mean, that lady is the GOAT, for the record. I love her. And she got a wonderful new flat that Kim Jong-un gifted to her for her many, many years of voluntary contributions to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and also Marxist-Leninist Judaist principles. She is a beacon of light and journalistic excellency. Having said that, okay, that was cool. She cried, I crowed, we all crowed when we watched her get into her new flat. So, no, she's not dead. No, she's not dead. How dare you? Stop, don't do jokes. Normies are watching. Jokes, excuse me. I'm telling you, man, this shit is. How can people not realize it? I mean, I know you guys realize it because I have been ringing the alarm bells on this shit nonstop. And I've spoken to every media outlet that will have me speak on it. But I still think a lot of liberals don't get it. They just do not understand what's going on. They're sleepwalking, okay? They are sleepwalking, dude. This is not about Jimmy Kimmel. This is not about his statements. This is about how much this government wants to enforce its power over major media corporations and how much major media corporations are capitulating to it. This is the same with Amazon and Twitch as well. Obviously, it's coming for me too directly, as I told you. All right. What the hell are we doing, man? What the is going on? This is ridiculous,
Elizabeth,
dude.
it also comes in the context of, I mean, I mentioned Colbert, right? And now we're talking about Kimmel. But you have Trump talking about lawsuits that settled in his favor by news organizations. Yesterday, making it clear not only does he add all of that into this, his victories, but also that he wants to go after others. Here was the exchange as he's on his way to England that he had with ABC News, longtime, top of the top ABC News White House correspondent Jonathan Karl. I'll play it.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC.
He was talking about free speech there. I mean, Elizabeth, where does this all lead, right? I mean, this is, I understand we were in a domino situation, but this one is seismic.
This is seismic. And if you had told me a few weeks ago that Stephen Colbert's show was no longer going to exist, I would have said you're crazy. If you had told me yesterday or an hour ago that Jimmy Kimmel Live was going to be pulled off the air indefinitely, I would have said in no world is that going to happen. So we are really in unprecedented times. And trust me, the people at ABC did not want to pull Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Oh my God, bro. No. It's not like the strangeness of this is not that, oh my God, I can't believe it, that Jimmy Kimmel got pulled off the air. The fact, the way it got pulled off the air is the up part. It's government intervention. Hello? Wake up. And not only is it government intervention, it's government intervention and capitulation by corporations to fascist, to fascist demands, no matter how stupid they are. No. This is insane, brother. What are we doing? We're at the mercy of losers and freaks. These schizophrenic monsters put the beat on you because they decided they didn't like your commentary one time because you cried too much about COVID or whatever. And then they're like, nope. One day the administration will actually force a major corporation after years and years of being like an online guy, being a famous newscaster, they can just come after you and decide that the corporation will just let you go. This is the most snowflake up SJW style shit I've ever seen in my life, dude. What are these guys doing?
You know, the show would have been taping within the next hour. So people would be there. Yes, this is very abrupt, very abrupt.
And this is all about jawboning. It's all about public pressure. You know, actually revoking FCC licenses is extremely difficult. I wrote about this last fall when candidate Donald Trump was talking on the campaign trail about wanting to punish stations by taking away their licenses. And throughout the history of the country, ever since we've had broadcast television, license revocations are extraordinarily rare. Once you've got one, you're pretty much guaranteed to keep it. So the threat is not that the FCC is actually going to take away a license. It's about the public noise. It's about the shame and embarrassment. It's about Brendan Carr going on podcasts and embarrassing ABC. You know, there's a term for this. It's jawboning, and that's what we've seen happen today in a very real way. Trump vowed retribution on the campaign trail, and he's getting it. He's getting it against entertainers and comedians. But Aaron, for every reaction, there is a counter reaction. Stephen Colbert has already been joking about getting hired somewhere else. Those jokes mask a very real intention, right? Yeah. Where will he get picked up instead? if Kimmel parts ways with ABC, and again, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Kimmel's contract is coming due soon, Kimmel will probably end up somewhere else. And if big, old-fashioned mainstream media companies don't have the guts to employ these people, then we're going to see startups start to flourish. You know, we talk about the Substack era with people launching newsletters and live streams on YouTube. We're going to see more of that if these old-fashioned media companies can't stand a little bit of pressure from the president.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it is stunning to see such a thing happen and to show this world that we're living in. Van Jones is joining me now on the phone. So, Van, you know, all of a sudden you see this headline, Jimmy Kimmel put on hold indefinitely by ABC News after the head of the FCC goes on a far-right podcast and says we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Like, understand something here, okay? The response from this company is supposed to be, oh, yeah? Try me, suck my cock, okay? What are you talking about? Where's your backbone? What the do you mean you're going to fold to the Trump administration and the FCC being like, sorry, we're taking away your broadcasting license? Suck my dick, dude. Suck my dick. That is what the response should be. That is what the response should be. What are we doing? What are we doing? I cannot believe it, dude. Wait, what? Oh my God. Okay, thank you. Oh my God. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. It has nothing to do with Jimmy Kimmel. I do not give a fuck about his comedy or his humor. It just adds insult to injury from my assessment, from where I'm standing. The very fact that he was like funny for the first time, and not only was he funny on this bit, it wasn't even remotely offensive. The notion that this is like the worst part about this, in my opinion, is not just the administration that's being like, oh, we're going to threaten you with government power. Okay. That is an interference on free speech. That's bullshit. That's a violation of free speech. That's not just cancel culture. There's a violation of free speech. In the past, Donald Trump would say, oh, I don't like the way you're presenting me. Okay. You would go, tough titties, bitch. It doesn't fucking matter. Who gives a Now, when Donald Trump says, I don't like the way you're presenting me, and companies go, oh my God, I'm so scared, instead of trying to fight back, we arrive at this situation where, like, the more they get, the more people cave, the more companies cave, the more they give an inch. These guys will take a mile. What are we doing? Liberals, defend something, anything. Defend liberalism. Defend the First Amendment. What are we doing? At this point, I see this as enabling the administration, because that's precisely what this is. You are enabling this administration. The chair of the FCC explicitly threatened them, specifically the affiliates, hours before they made the decision. The president has said he wants Kimmel and Colbert off the air. You know what it feels like to me? It feels like Trump is hitting the same route that he did with the Epstein stuff, basically coming out every single day and being like, I'm a, right? Like, oh, I love Jeffrey Epstein. Like, basically doing that, but this time for I'm a dictator, I'm a dictator, I'm a dictator, I'm a dictator, I'm a dictator. I'm doing dictatorial shit. I'm doing authoritarianism. I hate free speech. You need to listen to me. I am becoming a dictator.
And just speculation, his opinion, again, as I pointed out, Ted Cruz, your colleague Don Bacon, all came out and said even hate speech, in their view, would be protected, right? It was a bipartisan protection. Again, that's not what this was. This is just pure opinion, but I want to make the point.
How is this any different than liberal cancel culture?
I appreciate your time.
Dog.
I want to go straight now to
What
Anna.
the are you talking about? Point to me a time when the liberal administration turned around and said, we're going to revoke your broadcasting license because we don't like a joke you made about Joe Brandon. I hate the goddamn liberals, but you need to understand, be serious. This isn't a bunch of like conservatives organically getting together and getting offended and then demanding that ABC cancel Jimmy Kimmel. They've done that already. They've done that. It didn't work.
Using the weight of government power to suppress lawful expression, not because it glorifies violence or breaks the law, but because it challenges those in power and reflects views they oppose.
All right. So, Anna, let me just try to break this down a little bit, because you're sitting here, obviously, as somebody who, you know, you're a commissioner of the FCC, right? You work with Brendan Carr. So he goes out on this podcast, okay? And he says something very specific. I'm just going to play again the explicit threat that was made. Here he is.
They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, you know, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
The easy way or the hard way, right? There's no, frankly, obviously, there's no even attempt at ambiguity here, right? It's just a blatant, bald, direct threat. What do you say? What do you say to that? What do you say to Brendan Carr? I mean, he's your colleague. You guys are on the FCC together. You work with him. He went out and said this.
So I think we really need to make very clear that the First Amendment does not allow us, the FCC, to tell broadcasters what they can broadcast. Personally, I'd rather not speak ill of the dead, but I understand Jimmy Kimmel is a satirist and a comedian. I saw the clip. He did not make any unfounded claims, but he did make a joke, one that others may even find crude. But that is neither illegal nor grounds for companies to capitulate to this administration in ways that violate the First Amendment. And we must be careful not to allow the government to punish critics simply because of content. This sets a dangerous new precedent, and companies must stand firm against any efforts to trade away First Amendment freedoms.
So Anna, when Brendan Carr goes out and said the FCC, you know, that we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and talks about revoking broadcast licenses, okay, for people out there who don't understand the machinations of the FCC and exactly how it works, if ABC had not caved and had kept Jimmy Kimmel on the air, and Brendan Carr went ahead and actually went forward to do this, to try to revoke a broadcast license for ABC, goes to the FCC, you're a sitting member, you are there are others, what actually would happen?
So the FCC does not have the ability to revoke licenses just because we don't like what is being said on a particular broadcast, especially by a satirist like Jimmy Kimmel. So I don't think this commission could have legally revoked a license based on this particular episode. What we keep hearing by this administration is that broadcasters have to serve the public interest. And it's undefined what we mean by the public interest. It is true that we have a public interest obligation to serve communities, but it doesn't mean that anything we don't like is against the public interest. And what I think we need to do as a commission is we need to issue a rulemaking where we say, here is specifically what we mean by serving the public interest. Because just saying it's against the public interest because we don't like particular content is not enough. Very important to know. We don't have, I'm sorry, we don't have an exception to the, I was going to say, we don't have an exception to the First Amendment for broadcast licensees. They are still protected by our First Amendment, and free expression is non-negotiable. It marks the line between freedom and
By the way,
oppression.
as far as I've seen, they're not even mad at the Trump part of what Kimmel said. They're mad at him for saying the shooter might be right-wing. Them. They do not get to decide who stays on air and who doesn't for whatever jokes that they're making or whatever statements that they're making. They can suck my cock, okay? That is bullshit. That's bullshit, dude. I cannot believe it. I can't believe that this is what we're doing, man. This is what we're doing. Are we for real? Are we serious right now? Is this what's going on? Bro, this is so goddamn annoying. I saw this happen in Turkey. Oh my God, this is literally what's going on. Are you a Kimmel stan? Holy hell. No, dumb. Do you not understand? I don't give a shit about Jimmy Kimmel. I'm standing on the principle of the First Amendment. The very fact that this administration is actively going after people because of things that they said on television and utilizing the FCC in an inappropriate manner is completely and utterly unacceptable. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. Are you dumb? This has nothing to do with Jimmy Kimmel. Don't even come at me for that and be like, oh, you like Jimmy Kimmel so much. Don't try to bastardize what's unfolding in front of our goddamn eyes, dumbass. An administration that does this to the most inoffensive, unfunny guy like Jimmy Kimmel, what the do you think they're going to do to anybody else? This is how they control the flow of information, by causing every mega corporation that owns any of these media channels to capitulate to their whims, to be at their mercy, to be at their disposal. You don't have to be a fan of Jimmy Kimmel to be a fan of the First Amendment. I'm a fan of the First Amendment. And if that requires me to behave as though I'm the #1 fan of Jimmy Kimmel, so be it. Are you kidding me? What is this shit, dude? We are Turkifying this stupid country at an alarming rate. What resources does he have? Can he sue the FCC or ABC? I mean, Jimmy Kimmel now has beef with ABC most likely, but what ABC should have done from the start was to straight up say, suck my dick to the FCC. Because if you don't do that, they are going to keep doing this. They're going to keep eroding. They're going to keep testing out the limits, the public appetite. To the ones who bend the knee, it'll be profitable. To the ones who don't, steamrolling away. This is what the Nazis did as well. No, you're wrong. The existing court structure still at least offers some kind of protection, as it did to Harvard, for example. There is no reason to obey in advance. There's no reason to obey in advance. And as a matter of fact, when you actually allow the administration to steamroll over you, then you are creating an environment where they will continue doing so without any fear of repercussions whatsoever. Only when they realize that there is a lot of smoke for this shit, only then can you potentially stop what is coming. Okay? How ridiculous, how incredible, how insane. Look at the difference between Columbia and Harvard. Columbia caved and they got owned. Okay? Harvard didn't and they won. There is no reason, at this point, there is no reason to obey in advance. There is no reason to obey in advance. Because when you do, you're creating the environment. You are creating the environment, the landscape for the administration to get a little bit of a taste of this kind of cancel culture with no pushback whatsoever. And they're going to only escalate. Nice Bathroom says, imagine going down for one Kirk comment, but championing a genocide for years doesn't get a peep. Of course. But those two things are in line with one another. You've been called a terrorist and been accused of inciting violence. Do you not have a defamation case? I know you're not litigious, but fucking call them out on this shit. No, because defamation is a little bit different. The First Amendment is broadly defended. People like it, okay? People like it quite a bit. A major mega corporation engaging in a First Amendment defense against the FCC for this kind of erroneous pursuit is very different than like a public figure going after other public figures for defamation. Okay? Especially defamation that pertains to like my foreign policy perspective. You know what I mean? That's like in a country that is as Islamophobic as this one, right? I can't stand this, man. I'm so frustrated. This is really bad. Obviously, it's also extra bad because like I myself am in the crosshairs of this administration, so I do feel a sense of closeness to what's happening here because I see it. I see that it's imminent.